Hi, it's Matt Forrest, S&Wine, once again here with another edition of Wit and Wordplay. This is where I try to offer just a little bit of insight behind some of the children's poetry that I've written to give kids as well as adults a little bit of education in how a poem gets put together, and we're dealing with things from rhythm and rhyme to cadence and accents and things like that. You know, a lot of it is just the minutia of writing poetry, but there's a lot of fun things like alliteration, like we did with the first video, and today a short little poem that I wrote for Highlights magazine, where I'm going to just give you a brief introduction on Iambs. Iambs, which is an introduction to meter. We're not going to spend a whole lot of time on meter right now. In fact, when I'm going to schools talking to kids about writing poetry, I don't worry about meter. I don't worry about rhythm or rhyme, for that matter. Poetry doesn't have to rhyme. There is such a thing as free verse. There's blank verse, which is structured unrhyming verse. There's haiku, like there's all kinds of poems that don't rhyme. So today I just wanted to do a brief introduction to Iambs. And again, this was in Highlights, February 2020 edition of Highlights, right there. Highlights, and where are my highlights? Representing. All right, so this is called, I have to admit, I enjoyed writing this poem. It's called Not So Easy. A few have hit my forehead, and a bunch have slammed my chin. Some of them have nailed my nose and even gotten in. I've had so many in my eyes, I now can barely blink. Catching snowflakes on your tongue is harder than you think. Now, I'm going to read that again, but I'm going to read it very, very noticeably on the beats, okay? And you're going to notice something. Once I read this, you're going to notice something. A few have hit my forehead and a bunch have slammed my chin. Some of them have nailed my nose and even gotten in. I've had so many in my eyes I now can barely blink. Catching snowflakes on your tongue is harder than you'd think. Now, granted, nobody would normally read the poem like that, but I'm saying that to give you an idea as to what the iambs are. So an iamb is what they call a metrical foot. A foot is basically just a brief repetitious pattern within the line, and it's an unstressed beat with a stressed beat, or an unstressed syllable with a stressed syllable. A few have hit my forehead and a bunch have slammed my chin. It's unstressed, stressed, unstressed, stressed. Some of them have nailed my nose and even gotten in. Again, nobody talks like that, but we actually kind of do. The iambic verse is actually probably it more closely resembles a normal pattern of speech in the English language than probably any other kind of meter. And there's all kinds of meters. We're not going to get into all of that. But I just wanted to introduce you to the iamb. It's just two beats. Unstressed, stressed. I've had so many in my eyes I now can barely blink. And again, no one speaks that that kind of in your face with that kind of meter, but it is a very similar meter rhythm to speech. And so you'll find iambs in a lot of poetry. A lot of children's poetry has iambs in it because, again, it's easy for kids to pick up on the rhythm. But the next time you're reading a poem, just see if you can pick it out. There's iambs and there's trochees and there's dactyls and all kinds of things. We're not going to get into that right now. But just enjoy the poetry. Read it and enjoy it. You know, poetry is meant to be enjoyed, meant to be thoughtful, and that's what we all want you to do. All of us who write poetry, we all want our readers to enjoy what they've read and get a little something out of it. So now, hopefully, you have a little something out of it too. The iamb, I-A-M-B, da-dum, 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 da-dum. So that's iambic for you. If there's only two iambs in a line, it's iambic dimeter. If there's five, it's iambic pentameter. All the grown-ups have heard about sonnets in Shakespeare, iambic pentameter. If there's four iambs, da-dum, 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 it's iambic tetrameter. Again, a lot more than we want to get into right now. But hopefully you enjoyed the poem, and I will talk to you next time.